Jaecoo versus Chery. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Dimitri, and today we're going to continue talking about the vehicles and sub-brands of Chery Holdings. As we know, Jaecoo is a promising, interesting brand that's coming to our shores in early 2025. I translated a review of Jaecoo J8, which is like a flagman vehicle available for sale in Russia from Jaecoo brand, which is a sub-brand of Chery Holdings, okay? In Russia, Chery exists in parallel to Jaecoo, and looks like in Australia that's also where they're going, because Chery is very much on our shores. Why this video? What do I want to talk to you about? I'm going to show you this new thing that's coming there. Chery Tiggo 9. During that translation of Jaecoo J8, I said that in other countries, Jaecoo J8 is known as Chery Tiggo 9. That's what they said, and I translated it for you. So I stand corrected, or I'm just reiterating what they said. I only translate what they said. However, here, what caused my confusion and what would be of interest to you is that they are now announcing, the main Chery line of vehicles in Russia is announcing that they are gonna get Chery Tiggo 9, which visually, I'm kind of putting here the B-roll footage on top of this for you to compare. Looks very similar to Jaecoo J8.
This video is sponsored by the old friends of this channel, Ottocast. Ottocast are very well established on the market manufacturers of wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay AI boxes, which is basically a wireless adapter for your car. If your car is struggling with wireless connectivity to built-in wired Android Auto, wired Apple CarPlay, then Ottocast is one of the major biggest brands that are offering massive discounts to my community to check out. Check out the links in the description below. They have a lot of units. Lately I've reviewed like a couple of them, and this is also your chance to check the Auto Gear Reviews sister channel of mine, of Value Cars Australia, where I go in depth into unboxing, installation and other things about these units. Check them out.
Okay, of course, slightly different design, slightly different technical characteristics, slightly different this, slightly different that. And we're gonna take a closer look at both in this particular video if you're interested to stick around a bit longer. But I'm simply confused that, of course, I understand that Chinese manufacturers, especially Chery Holdings, they are very aggressively flooding Russia with their vehicle propositions that are expensive these days there, but they're still a lot more affordable than something classic, something of German manufacturing or American manufacturing. Choice is great. However, Chery competes with itself. Chery competes with Jaecoo here pretty evidently. They already have J8 there. Nice vehicle that looks pretty much not identical, but very close to this thing. And then this thing is appearing on the market right now. Big campaign around it. They are driving across Russia towards the, polar shining to North Pole kind of areas, polar areas of Russia, to show how solid the vehicle is, that it can take a lot of people inside, and they are gonna have this cross-country showcase of the vehicle's capabilities, which I think is a wonderful marketing move for Chery. But do these two brands, Jaecoo and Chery, can continue coexisting, not just within different segments on the market, but even if they are rolling out something that arguably looks identical to one another? That is the main, we got finally to the definition of the main point of this video. That's my question to you. Can they coexist? Clearly someone very smart ran the numbers, ran the spreadsheet numbers, and decided that they can. So the answer is they can, otherwise these very smart people would not be doing it. But as always, as Value Cars Australia channel owner and as a kind of casual, very casual reviewer, non-pro reviewer still, I always have a common average Joe and Jane in mind. And I always try to look for some kind of trends that we can learn from. Because a lot of things that happened in Russia with, let's say, Great Wall Motor tank rollout there have come to fruition here in Australia and still are happening, So same with Chery. I think what we're seeing there is simply a precursor of something that is very likely to happen in Australia. Just like I said to you, Jaecoo is launching, they are launching J7, J8 is only a matter of time. What about this Tiggo 9? Nice enough vehicle, looks very similar to J8, yes? And it's a massive 7-seater Tiggo 9 that gives you a sense of safety and comfort. Well, it does look safe and comfortable, but all of them do as well. Here they talk about the multimedia system. The floating instruments panel is 10.3, and the main infotainment screen is 15.6 with very high resolution of Ultra HD. Cool, all right, looks a bit Tesla style. That's fine. I guess everyone wants a TV inside of their car these days. I'm not going to poo-poo that. I think that's all right, and I think that's the expectations, and they're meeting those expectations. All right, so new space, kind of new approach to how they are managing space within this vehicle. Apparently, even though it looks identical, once again, to my eye, this Chery Tiggo 9 looks identical to Jaecoo J8 and very close, aka identical, to Chery Tiggo 8 Pro Max. Okay, so they're talking about the space. So the length of this vehicle is going to be almost 5 meters, 4.810. The width is going to be 1,925 millimeters. Height is 1.7, and the wheelbase is 2,800 millimeters. All right, excellent. Again, not very different. I don't understand why segment your own proposition, Chery, even in saturated market like Russia. Isn't this where something that I would call almost a diminishing return? You're cannibalizing people who may otherwise have bought Jaecoo J8. So you're cannibalizing that element, and surely your spreadsheet at the end of the day aligns there to the same top of the pyramid in Chery Holdings because you're a subsidiary. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I welcome your thoughts on this. And again, in case you're wondering why, Dimitri, are you talking about this? Well, first of all, you're seeing what Russians are doing there. That's insightful, I would dare say. And secondly, I am just interested in this, and I'm just a casual owner of a casual channel on YouTube. That's why I'm interested in this, and I talk about what I'm interested in. And yeah, and they're encouraging you to pre-order. So this Chery Tiggo 9 is not yet available, but looks like soon it will be available. That's all we know about Chery Tiggo 9, at least from their website and official videos that we have. I still believe that it's very, very, very similar. Maybe the back of it is a little bit more aggressive and a bit more Range Rover-y, rather than slightly more smooth and kind of rounded back and other lines of Chery Tiggo 9. However, overall, the size, the door handles, the retractable door handles, everything looks exactly the same, in my humble opinion. In fact, I probably actually prefer, but that's an eye of the beholder. I probably prefer how the grille and how the overarching kind of look of Jaecoo J8 looks. To me, that's what it is to me. So let's take a look. Like I said to you, there on Tiggo 9, they go for fluffy, here's what it looks like, here's how it makes you feel, this and that. And here for Jaecoo, they are going straight into showing to you the specifications. 2-liter engine, all-wheel drive system, 249 horsepower, 8.5 seconds speeding up from 0 to 100, and 385 of Newton meters of torque. That's exterior, and we could have gone into interior, but I can't be bothered, and the video is already getting long enough. Looks nice, looks gorgeous, I like it. I think there is not much not to like about this, especially in black color, except it's horrible to own black cars. I owned a black Jeep, and I can tell you it always looks dirty, so I don't recommend it. It only looks good on the showroom floor. But yeah, what else are they saying here that might be of interest? It's all-wheel drive. I don't know if that Tiggo 9, if you noticed, I didn't. If you noticed anything there on that page that we were just looking at, I think it's not four-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive Tiggo 9, but this is, so that's already straight away better. So it will hold the turns much better. It has this advanced system of full enablement of all-wheel drive that they refer to as torque vectoring, and they're even using it in English here on a Russian website. Figure that out. It's like a brand. Yep. And ADAS systems that also you can see here, systems of ADAS, adaptive cruise control, the warning of the frontal collision, the system, the lane keep assist system, which I hate, but in Chery it actually hasn't been too bad from my numerous test drives of their different vehicles, and so on and so forth, such as the blind spot monitoring. So yeah, and they say, welcome to business class. This is what this says. Welcome to business class. Yeah, it does look like business class. I guess maybe, just maybe, Jaecoo J8 is going to be very similar in every aspect of Chery Tiggo 9. However, maybe as a more premiumly positioned brand such as Toyota versus Lexus, they'll be a bit more expensive, perhaps. I don't know. Very hard to tell. Apparently, the engine is very efficient. Yeah, all that kind of stuff that we just spoke about. And then the suspension. Suspension is electronically controllable amortization, which basically means how the suspension handles itself. Yeah, so it's comfort maneuvering. They are reducing the amount of tilt, the amount of dip during when you're speeding up and when you're turning, other kind of stuff, which is cool, good to know. Smart technologies are promised everywhere, doesn't surprise me. So there is a Snapdragon 8155 processor being used in the electronic systems, which is, I guess, good enough. It's like a phone, really. And so on and so forth. I know that this is probably the top of the range premium panels are shown of J8. I do like this. I prefer the monolith kind of look of this. It makes it look a lot more expensive and futuristic for what it's worth, rather than two separate displays. I think two separate displays is already something that's been overdone, and one monolith way of looking at it, especially if it's a bit bendy, yeah, that's what it's at. I think that's a lot more premium. There you go, my friends. So that's all I wanted to show you today. I wanted to show you what the Russians are doing in terms of Chery Holdings that's very aggressively flooding the market with their vehicles, with their sub-brands such as Jaecoo, and they don't seem to be too shy to compete with themselves. Once again, the J8, to me, to my eye, looks exactly like Chery Tiggo 9, the one that is just coming. So they think, obviously, there is a business case somewhere there where they think that it's going to sell and probably not kill Jaecoo sales. Otherwise, who would ever approve it at kind of the boardroom, the director's boardroom level? No one would ever do that. Will this happen to Australia? In Australia, listen, I think it will happen if the Chinese brands, including Chery, continue displacing the sales numbers of other more prominent brands, such as Toyota, such as Mercedes, such as others that are also for Australians simply too hard to keep up pricing-wise. Because even relatively affluent, relatively wealthy people, they are still under a long-term pressure from the housing costs in Australia, and I do think that smart automotive companies such as Chery, such as Jaecoo, they're seeing an opportunity and they're pushing with it. They're continuing to flood the market. And they're making some smart trade-off moves, which is you do in business anyway. For example, very recent news article that talks about that was talking about that Chery is pooling their more powerful GT version of Armada 5. Armada 5 GT is going to be pulled from the market. It's too expensive and clearly is not hitting the mark versus their mainstream Tiggo models. Fair enough, but that's an example that the company is smart enough to pivot where it needs to pivot. But this, Jaecoo, Chery, very similar cars. Why compete with yourself when you could, in my opinion, but I'm not a specialist, I suppose, why compete in the same segment when you could do it separately and perhaps compete here with one brand and compete here with another? I don't know, but you tell me. I think it's a good topic of conversation anyway for the comments section below the video. I still respond selectively, but try to respond over time to everyone who is not a troll. Thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a lovely holiday break right now. Enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. I always appreciate it, and I see you and I talk to everyone. And have happy holidays, and I'll talk to you next time.